Welcome to another edition of Campus Connect on Morris Educational Television. I'm your guest host, Joe Schilp, and I'm joined by our future host of the program, the new president here at County College of Morris, Dr. Anthony Iacono. Welcome to the program, Dr. Iacono.
Thank you, Joe. I'm glad to be here.
Do you mind if I call you Tony for the show?
Please do.
Okay. We're going to do 3 segments, and we're going to talk a little bit about your background and your youth and growing up to get to know you a little bit better. We're going to cover your career before you came here, and then we'll talk about coming here and your mission here at County College of Morris. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
You came to us from Florida, but it's my understanding that you came from the Northeast originally.
I'm from Connecticut originally, and grew up in a small town outside of Hartford called Manchester, and lived there till I was about 13, 14. Then I moved to Florida, where I lived on and off for some years in between. Moved away to go to school, came back, started raising my family there. So the humor that I get a lot of times is, wait till you see winter. I've seen winter, I like winter, and know what it's about. I'm looking forward to having winter back in my life again.
So am I safe to assume that you're a Giants fan?
I'm a Giants fan.
All right.
I'm a Giants fan principally because that's what's televised reliably every Sunday in Florida. My children are Giants fans, and as far as they know, they've always lived near Giants Stadium, so
Excellent.
works out fine for them.
Excellent. I'm sure the people of Morris County, our viewers and our people here, students, will love to hear that. So you went to high school in Florida, and what was your high school like for you? Were you, back in the day, there was the cliques, there was the jocks, the nerds, the musicians. What were you?
I had the good benefit of moving between all the groups. I liked everybody, got along easily with everyone. Maybe a little bit closer with students who are interested in the performing arts. I played in a lot of bands in high school and through college, and liked our performing arts program and so forth, but had a lot of friends who were athletes also, some who were just our computer brainiacs or nerds or whatever you want to call them, but I just enjoy people in general, so I had no problem moving between all the groups and friends from all different backgrounds and so forth.
What did you play in a band?
I play guitar and bass guitar, so those are my 2 principal instruments.
And did you perform at clubs or at schools?
Well, no, we were too young to perform at clubs at the time, but we played all the high school dances after the football games. We played homecoming dances. We played Sweet 16 parties, weekend parties at people's houses and things like that. So,
Excellent.
So it was fun. Yeah, it was all the popular music from the day and a lot of stuff from the 60s and 70s as well.
Excellent.
Even though this was the late 80s.
Okay. After high school, where'd you go to college?
After high school, I applied to a number of schools, and the running joke in my house sometimes is I applied to Florida State, got accepted, and decided I would go to our community college, which was very close to where I lived, for a variety of reasons. One is I had a pretty good idea actually what I wanted to study, and I was a reasonably good student, but I felt that I would get a lot more individual attention than I would get at a large university. I always say today, at the time I would not have thought this way, but every school is not the right school for every student, but I often think community colleges are the right school for more students than may think so themselves. So going there was a great choice for me because what I did get were smaller classes. I got professors who knew me by name, and I got a lot of exciting opportunities as a result of. I did go my first year in a music scholarship, but I found that I really loved the academics and moved away from that. And from there, professors took a good interest in me and gave me extra projects and different things that I could work on with them. Learned a lot more about academia, developed really good academic skills, and then I transferred to the University of Central Florida after I got my associate in arts degree.
With a scholarship in music, were you looking to be a music major, or were you going right for the history major?
I wasn't. I was really interested in being a history major, but I didn't want to turn down the scholarship, and I didn't want to turn down the fun of getting to spend some time with other musicians, and I wanted to learn more in there, and I did achieve those things. The other students were great, had a wonderful band director. I enjoyed the scholarship greatly. So it worked out quite nicely. But what I found was I just wanted to spend a lot more time on the academics than I wanted to spend on my studies. I continued playing on bands on my own outside of the school atmosphere, but I just wanted to focus on the academics, and that gave me a lot more time to do that. But I pretty much always thought I'd be a history major.
So you did get your associates.
I got my associate in arts degree.
And you moved right on, or?
I did. Literally, my last class was in the summer session, and a week after it ended, I moved to Orlando and began working on my bachelor's degree in history, which was another great choice because at the time, the University of Central Florida was touted as Florida's little school. I think it had roughly 15,000 students. Today, it's the second largest in the nation, pushing up around 100,000 students. Still a great school, probably even better than ever. But at the time, what it was known for is this great little school where you got a lot of individualized attention. Hence, you get a lot of opportunities that, again, if you were in a classroom with 700 or 800 students, you might not have gotten. So great department, tremendous faculty, and by the time I was done, my academic skills were very, very strong, and the faculty there had said, if you stay for our master's program, we think you should, but we'll give you a very generous scholarship, and we'll also give you a work-study internship, and you can work in the office, which was a hugely rewarding experience because I had a chance to do research with faculty members, editing a journal, helping edit a journal with a faculty member, and then just the daily workings of what goes on during the day of an academic department. The faculty could not have been more generous, more kind to me, and it was really quite an experience.
And your specialty is American history?
19th century American South is what I really focus on, and for a lot of people that means the Civil War, and I've certainly spent more than a fair share of time studying that, but what I really studied was communities, class, gender, race, local economies, things of that nature, how people lived, how they built communities, how they rebuilt communities, particularly after the war itself, and so forth. That was always the biggest interest to me. And I think that really was sort of the seeds of my interest in community colleges, even because that's what we do at our best. We're a place for community members to come to build their futures, but we're a part of the greater community as well, and helping strengthen the community culturally, economically, and virtually all other ways. So my interest is not far from home, as a historian to an educator to an administrator.
So did you go right for your PhD, or did you go on to teach right after that? You did?
After not going to Florida State the first time, I applied again for my doctoral program, got accepted again, and then decided to go to Mississippi State University. As one of my professors at UCF said, if you really want to dig into the South in the 19th century, there's a historian there who is quite extraordinary, and he was, named John Marszalek, who'd done some absolutely brilliant work. Had been called to the White House several times to do some advisement, published some wonderful books, and it was an honor to work under him. It was every bit as good as I was told it would be. Just a brilliant, very humble person. But living there was a really great experience as well. It certainly helped me escape a lot of misperceptions of what people think Mississippi is about. It's certainly, living in the town I lived in was quite progressive. The technology on the campus was very, very advanced. The faculty from around the world. So the educational experience itself was tremendous. Just living there was a lot of fun as well, because there's a unique culture that's there. And I would say some of the nicest people I've ever known, some of the kindest, most giving people, on top of the best barbecue you'll ever have, and tremendous blues music as well. So I was glad to have the opportunity to live there for a few years. Excellent.
I guess as a guitar player and a music scholarship recipient going into your graduate education, that Mississippi being the home of the Delta Blues was probably something that really interested you as well.
It was extraordinary. I taught guitar in a music store, and on any given Saturday, the people that would come through and the quality of their musicianship was astronomical, and so it was an honor to get to see that and so forth. I didn't actually play in any bands. That program was so intense, I barely had time to turn around, but I did teach guitar, and had a lot of fun doing that. But yes, the quality of musicianship was unbelievable there. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, when we come back, we will take Dr. Iacono through his academic years teaching, and we'll start transitioning to County College of Morris, so don't go away.
Not all County College of Morris students look like me.
Some look like me.
Or me.
Or me.
Or me.
We all come to CCM at different stages of life.
And for different reasons.
I plan to transfer to a university.
I'm training for a new career as a nurse.
But we all know one thing.
CCM is where we want to be.
So check out the website.
Check out the website.
Check out the website. And let CCM connect learning and your life.
Welcome back to Campus Connect. Again, our guest is Dr. Iacono, president here of County College of Morris. And we're moving ahead now to your professional career. You've graduated with your Ph.D., and your first job is?
My first job, when I graduated with my Ph.D., I was fortunate to be hired back at the University of Central Florida. I wasn't looking for a job. I was on a research trip using the libraries at the University of Florida a couple hours away. and went down to UCF to thank the editor of the Florida Historical Quarterly, because she had been sending me work and I was doing some of that. Wanted to meet her and thank her. When I got there, the department chair took me aside and said, we're looking for someone to teach 19th century American South, Civil War, military history. Where are you with your dissertation? I said, it's in my trunk right now. And he said, are you mobile? Can you move? And I said, absolutely. And so I was hired there, first as an adjunct, and then got moved over to a visiting professor line, and I absolutely loved it. But it was about 2 hours north of where we lived, and there was an opening at Indian River State College, or community college at the time, where I had been a student, and it was for a tenure track professor position, and I really wanted to get back to a community college. I wanted to serve the students who were like me, first generation in college, first time in college, and it would be a lot of fun going back to the town that I had lived in and know very well and so forth. So I left to UCF and was hired on at Indian River Community, then State College as a faculty member. I loved it. It was great. The students were absolutely tremendous. I felt like I was really making a difference, and I liked what I did at UCF, but I felt like I made a much bigger difference to the students at the community college, and enjoyed being a professor there for a little bit better than 3 years.
So 3 years, and then you moved on to...
3 years, and I was asked would I consider going into administration, and I said yes, it's something I am thinking of much later in my career. And they said, well, we have a unique situation because we hired so many people decades ago. We have 11 administrators retiring at the same time, and we're looking for individuals who can help lead this college forward. I'd been serving on a lot of committees doing various work, and so some individuals thought I'd be a good candidate for that and wanted me to apply. So I did apply for one of the positions I was encouraged to, which was not history or humanities where I come from, but business. So I applied, got a big thumbs up, and didn't get the job. I was a little discouraged, and then folks came back and said, listen, the ideas that you shared we think could be applied better in another area of the college. That was the adult education, developmental education programs, tutoring, and so forth. And my first question was, we have adult education at the college? They said, absolutely we do, and it was a huge program. And they said, we think you can bring a very fresh approach to an already very strong program, and the approach is, can we get these kids to go to college? Typically when you think about adult ed programs, that's not the first thing that comes to mind. I thought it was an exciting idea, and really wanted to be involved with that and blossomed that idea. I had a wonderful team of people who I worked with who had big imaginations and a work ethic to match the imagination, and we went from moving about 100 students from adult ed a year into college programs to close to 700 a year. We found there were donors. The president of that college was extraordinary. He was passionate about all of his programs, didn't have a pecking order per se, loved adult ed as much as he loved the baccalaureate programs. Worked with our foundation director, found a donor, had a building, a large building, complete state-of-the-art technology, and that sort of became an incubator to teach students about all the different careers, all the different programs at the college, while getting them the essential skills they needed. So it really was an entire college and a community coming around this idea, and it became a model for Florida.
Now, you mentioned baccalaureate degrees, and we should talk a little bit about that, because here in New Jersey, as you know, we don't have baccalaureate degrees at county colleges. So talk about why you had them in Florida and what the needs specifically are for them in Florida.
First of all, I appreciate you asking that way. What I usually get hit with is a very direct, are we going to have baccalaureate programs here? Now, Florida has baccalaureate programs in their colleges because there's a lot of unique things in the state. The sheer size of the state is one part of it, but Florida doesn't have a large number of public universities as you might expect a state that size to have. So typically what happens is the universities will turn away thousands of students every year for various reasons. Space is one of those reasons. They can only serve so many. And consequently, what you have in Florida is you have a very large ongoing teacher shortage. They have really struggled with large nursing shortages, as well as shortages in many other areas. Coupled with that, and again going back to the geography, we had a lot of employers coming to the local colleges, the community colleges, saying, I have individuals who I would promote and I have a need for these positions. I don't have individuals who can fill them. So they were workforce baccalaureates. Applied baccalaureates is what they're called. But basically we had police departments, we had fire departments, all various organizations saying to do these jobs that I need to promote somebody into, you have to have the experience. But these are working adults. Somebody's not going to leave their family, move a couple of hours across the state, or try to commute while working full-time. Why can't we have these programs here? Our community colleges are very high quality. So it really evolved from the community. I don't know that there were any presidents in Florida's colleges who thought they wanted to do this and that's why we should do it. It really came in Indian River State. It came after a number of years, and the college looked for all kinds of alternatives. It partnered with the universities. It worked hard to get universities to be on the campus, but there were just a variety of logistical challenges for those universities to do that. So ultimately, the end result was they began offering baccalaureate degrees. Depends upon which college. I believe all but 2 in the state do offer baccalaureates. Indian River offers somewhere around 25, 28, but it has absolutely helped the workforce issues, has strengthened Florida's economies, and it has not taken away from the universities in the slightest. So the data and the reports and so forth that looked at it once it was up in place, how did it all go? Essentially every school, every state's got to look and assess its own unique nature and then make a determination of is that a good choice for them. I absolutely give Morris a tremendous amount of credit in a long history. My predecessor and the administrators and faculty here have done a magnificent job really building great articulation agreements. So New Jersey's got this wonderful overarching agreement that if you have an associate degree, moving into a 4-year school is a very easy process. But then there's some really wonderful, very specific articulation agreements that we have with most of the universities in the state. And most recently, we've signed new ones with Fairleigh Dickinson and with Montclair. And I would absolutely encourage students, this is an even better deal than I got when I was a community college student, is go to your community college, get a great foundation from tremendous faculty. Maybe we can talk about that in a minute, but there's a kind of a misperception, misunderstanding about faculty at community colleges. But really, really wonderful faculty in a great environment where you can be very, very active, learn a lot, have a great social life as well, all those things that make college what college is. And then, often at a discounted price or an easier flow, move into one of New Jersey's many fine universities, complete your education, and go live and build the life that you want. I'll tell you, the faculty at Morris are absolutely second to none. They are stellar. More than 60% are engaged in research and publication still. All of them that I've seen are engaged in practice, so they're continuously on the cutting edge. They're developing new things. They're bringing it into the classroom. You'd be hard pressed to find a faculty more dedicated to their students or offering a higher quality environment. I think that's important for people to remember because sometimes community colleges get touted as a good place to go if you don't know what you want to do. We have no shortage of students who know exactly what they want to do and they know exactly why they're here. So we think we're far more, and we think this because we listen to our students, we're far more than a great place for students who aren't sure what they want to do. Sometimes the misperception is if you want a really great education or really great faculty members, you have to go to university. I would invite anybody, come on out here. We'll be happy to talk with you, give you a tour, let individuals meet some of our faculty, and I think they will be overwhelmingly impressed with what goes on here every day, the quality. And let's remember, something's not of value if quality's not there. At that point, it just becomes cheap. We're not cheap. We're a great value, but first and foremost, we are a tremendous quality. Look at our alumni. There's over 45,000, and they are professionals from every aspect of life, achieving anything they want to achieve. So students start here, they go everywhere, they do incredible things.
Excellent. We will talk more specifically about County College of Morris and Dr. Iacono's arrival here when we come back, so don't go away.
My grandfather served in World War II. Spending time with him were the best memories of my life. I became a physician at VA because of my grandfather, so I can help others like him. I can't imagine working with better doctors or a more dedicated staff. I'm fulfilling my life's mission with the help of my team and thanks to these veterans. I'm proud to be a doctor at VA and proud to honor my grandfather every day. Search VA Careers to find out more.
Welcome back to Campus Connect. I'm Joe Schulp, and again I'm joined by Dr. Anthony Iacono, the new president here at County College of Morris. And let's talk briefly about, just before you arrived here, your last position at Indian River was
the vice president for academic affairs, and was a great position. It let me build on what I was doing, but it brought me back to my roots as an academic and allowed me to work oftentimes with many of the faculty I'd come through with and so forth and support them. Now the nicety was I'd worked with adult ed, I'd worked with developmental ed, which is a whole conversation itself in the state of Florida, but a lot of what I learned there and a lot of things we developed there, we actually moved across the college as a whole.
So how long were you in that position, and what exactly does that position do?
Right. So I was in the position about 4 years, and essentially being the VP of Academic Affairs gives you responsibility for all of the academic programs, which not only means the classes, but various areas such as the library, our tutoring centers. In my case, every college is organized a little bit differently, but that still included adult education. It also included minority affairs, the TRIO programs, and all of our adjunct faculty to provide coordination and support. And to do that, as you could well imagine, required a large network of support. So fortunately, I had great deans across the college who provided support on all of that as well. So.
Okay, so you're there for 4 years. Your predecessor, Dr. Yaw, here at County College of Morris, announces he's going to retire after some 30 some odd years with the college, most of it in the capacity of president. So the job goes up. Do you apply for it, or?
I didn't see the job go up. Here's what had happened. A couple of years previous, I wasn't looking for a presidency at that moment, but a couple of years previously I had been called by some search firms, and they had talked to me a little bit and kind of scouted out would I be interested, and I'd said yes, it's a long-term plan, but there are things I'm doing at Indian River that I'm very interested in, I really want to finish before I move forward. On top of that, my wife and I have 4 children, and the timing wasn't great for them. Couple of years previous, they were at different points in school themselves, so that was a factor as well. So I got a call one day, basically out of the blue, with a recruiter saying, I represent a certain search firm, and you had said that in a couple of years you'd be looking for one. It's been a couple of years, so I don't know if they keep a post-it note on their calendars or what, but they were very nice. That wasn't the search firm that I'd used, but shortly after I got another call from the search firm that was representing CCM, and they had said, we have a great school, and I'd said, I'm really not overly interested in moving into a presidency at this point. I'm ready, but I'm working on some other things that I want to focus on. And she had said, just give me 15 minutes because this school is too good not to be a part of. What are you looking for? So I told her, and she said, that's the school that I've got right here. What I was looking for essentially was a school that was very focused on academics, but had an interest in workforce and supporting its community as well. That initially, at least, was not a massive institution. I wasn't looking for the 100,000 student school institution and so forth, and one that was very tied and connected in very healthy ways to its community. And so I gave her the 15 minutes, listened, and that seemed to be very agreeable with both of us. And she said, I'd like to do a 1-hour conversation with you, and that sounded fine, so we did that. And then we did a Skype interview, and things continued to progress where I did come out for the interviews on campus. I think I came out 3 or 4 times in total last winter.
What goes into applying for a job of president? Like, what kind of homework do you do to study about the college and the people who work here?
It is on both parties' ends, it is a very, very rigorous process. And so I know CCM was very, very thorough on what it was looking at, what it wanted in a president, where they were at. I think the folks here knew they have a very, very strong history, and they had done extremely well under Dr. Yaw. So you want to really do your homework and being very clear in what directions do we want to move in, what kind of person do we want to lead the institution, et cetera. And on my end, involves a lot as well, which is researching the institution. Where have they been? What challenges have they had? What opportunities exist for them? How closely are they tied to their community? What's the makeup of the faculty? Where are their staff and administrators from? Basically, you research broadly across the spectrum, and then you start drilling into certain areas. You don't want to come in and just maintain an institution like CCM. You want to grow an institution. And I was convinced this is an institution that is very, very healthy. It's a living institution. It has done extremely well over the past. It has tremendous opportunity as well. So that was my big attraction. But you basically read everything you can get your hands on. You talk to anyone who will talk to you in the early stages of the interview process. Because of the way the process has to work, there's not a lot of folks who are going to talk to you. You're on your own. As it evolves a little bit, you can get a few more conversations. As you get into the interviews, you begin to learn a lot more in that process. And in the past 6 weeks that I've been here, you really get to learn robustly. But I feel like I came in with a very healthy understanding before I showed up on campus as well.
Okay, so you came here in August. It was mid-August. Spent 2 weeks with Dr. Yaw, and then he retired.
Right.
So you've been here approximately 2 months, almost just short of 2 months now.
Right.
What are your initial impressions of the institution?
Right. The first 2 weeks were terrific with Dr. Yaw, and he was very helpful. We had some very good conversations. He was very, very good in taking me around the community, introducing me. We had some good meetings around the community as well with key stakeholders. My initial impressions are overwhelmingly positive. This is a college that really cares about what it's doing. It is very thoughtful about how it can best support students, so it's constantly changing to meet those needs. It is very balanced. It's a very high quality educational environment, but there's a lot of thought put toward how do we really help students become good, strong, independent learners, good, strong self-advocates, responsible, mature adults as part of that journey. The administrative team is incredibly dedicated to the work it's doing here, and the support staff is absolutely tremendous. I had a really nice experience. I was coming in through a building the other day, and a student was standing around an area, and one of our maintenance staff had said, you know, these chairs in the halls, they're for you. You're welcome to sit, be comfortable, study these buildings and everything we have. It's for you as a student. And I think anytime you're watching that kind of thing happen at your college, you know everyone's firing on all thrusters and everyone's on the same page. So I thought that was exemplary.
Now, the structure here is that you're essentially like the president, the chief executive officer, but there is a board that you report to, and what is the board looking for? What is your charge? What are you tasked with going forward for the institution?
Right. So we have a wonderful board who are very committed also, and they're a good board. We have individuals who have education backgrounds, business backgrounds, legal backgrounds, et cetera. And I would say they care every bit as much as the people who work on the campus every day about what happens. The board, typical of most boards, is they're your policy keepers. They make policy, they review and ensure that we remain within our policy. They ensure that we're in a strong position financially as well, and the overall health and well-being of the college is strong. My role as CEO is the daily operations, so I work very closely with our board on those issues, but it's the overall operations of the day. And what we really look after, you know, the fundamentals first and foremost that every college has to. Enrollment, retention, we want the students not just to enroll, but to continue semester after semester, and we want them to graduate. And we want them to graduate in a very strong position and then move on with their goals, whether that's immediate entry into the workforce, which is the goal of some of our students. Recent report came out showing that our students who enter the workforce with an associate degree only, that was their intention, are among the highest earners in the United States from associate degree institutions. Out of the top 20 schools of over 340 that were surveyed, we ranked number 18, which is very exciting. We're not that far from number 1. It's a pretty competitive process, and our students who go on do exceedingly well at their transfer universities as well. So right now we look at the fundamentals. We also look at, are there programs that we don't have here? Are there students who we're not serving as well as we could? It's not enough for a college to say, we're doing really great, look at the numbers. We have to really dig into the data and say, are we doing really great with all students? CCM's committed to all of its students, so it's important we really pay attention in a very, very focused way. Are we meeting expectations? Are we challenging our students? Are we offering the kind of opportunities we should offer, and so forth? So that's a lot about what this day is. Additionally, I'm a big advocate of getting students out in the community. Internships are critically important to students. Let them have real world experience. I want the community on campus even more involved with us in various ways. Good community colleges and CCM, great county college, are those that are able to support, meet the demands of its community. We have a community that's been very supportive of what we're all about as well.
That sounds great, and we're happy to have you here at County College of Morris. We welcome you to Morris County, New Jersey, but we are out of time right now, and well, we do want to hear your comments on the program, so we ask that you share your thoughts with us. You can write to Dr. Iacono here at County College of Morris, 214 Center Grove Road, Randolph, New Jersey, 07869, or you can send an email to tiacono@ccm.edu. We thank you once again for tuning in. I'm your guest host, Joe Schulp, and we ask that you tune in again on our YouTube channel or right here on Morris Educational Television. Thank you.